stand up, you never know where support is going to come from. I first met Kevin Whitley last October. Thank you. And I got a call up pretty late to be an MC for another function. Actually, it was a Bravehearts fundraiser as well that the police were putting on. And they said, oh, we've got this guy who's coming in. We organised him through Bravehearts. He's going to be our guest speaker. And they said, well, he's a bit of an untested quality. He hasn't done this before, and he's asked for half an hour to speak. And we're a bit worried that he might waffle on a bit. Just keep an eye on him, will you? Just make sure his speech is all right. And if you need to, give him a hand, give him a hand. I said, oh, geez, okay. Anyway, Kevin got up and spoke, and they need not have worried because it was a gripping speech, and he had the entire room for 30 minutes straight, and it was an incredible speech, Kevin. But what really struck me was something he said about halfway through, and that he mentioned that the perpetrator in his case he had seen arrested by way of a report he'd seen on Channel 10 News. I started listening very carefully to what he was saying, and he named this person, and gee, that name rings a bell. Anyway, it turned out that report on Channel 10 News several years earlier had actually been written by me because I'd covered that case. So it was quite a coincidence. In fact, just the other day, Kevin, I was flipping through some old notepads, and because journalists have to keep their notepads for 10 years, and you flip through them and churn them out, and I found one. I flipped through to a random page, and there were my notes from that first court appearance, which is quite incredible. Your name was actually written on that piece of paper 6 years before I'd even met you, which is just incredible. We've also learned since then about a letter that Kevin received from someone quite unexpected, and that person was Margaret, the niece of the man who abused Kevin. Kevin finally replied to that letter, and that's what you're going to hear about shortly, and the incredible partnership that came from the sending of those two letters. We'll hear from Margaret in a moment, but first, if you'd be kind enough to give your undivided attention to a man who I think is absolutely incredible in every sense of the word, Kevin Whitley.